Okay, there we go. We're live. This is the IoT Show, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We are at IoT Stars here in Nuremberg during Embedded World 2026. And I'm here with Wienke. And this is the usual now annual thing that we're doing over here. And I think kicking you off with you, I think it's been inevitable as well.
Okay, nice.
All right. But anyways, you're always here. Thank you for that.
Happy to be here.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So the idea here today is like, have you share your feeling about embedded world, where are we at in 2026, what's going on with the things, the industries,
Yeah,
this kind of things. And it's going to be a little bit back and forth for 10 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
You okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. And some people might not know you, even though you've been on the show about 10 times, guys. No excuse here. Anyways, how about you introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, so my name is Wienke Giezeman, CEO and co-founder of the Things Industries. What we do is we provide software that allows you to manage LoRaWAN networks. And LoRaWAN is a IoT technology that allows you to operate sensors that run on a battery and can transmit data, small pieces of data for very long distance. So this is really perfect on an industrial site where you have a large space, but you only need to know if a valve is open and closed, or in a fast food restaurant where you want to know for every fridge what the temperature is.
Yeah.
And we have 1,000 other use cases.
Yeah. So long distance, low bandwidth, but low consumption, which is kind of key. Most often, LoRa sensors, they are LoRaWAN sensors. They're purely on battery, but battery can last for years.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So not Wi-Fi.
No, it's not Wi-Fi, and it's all about enterprise IoT, where the total cost of operation is the key thing.
Yes.
So making sure you don't have to replace these batteries.
Yeah.
It's
so I think we do understand well the scenarios. It's interesting at an era where like 5G is becoming ubiquitous. We're talking about the fact you were surprised that there was no 5G within the building with the concrete walls and so on. 5G, even though everyone expects, especially in developed countries, that it's ubiquitous, available everywhere, it is not, right? And so anywhere where you think you could have network connectivity through cellular, you might not have. So this is where LoRaWAN is a good choice.
Yeah.
It's been around for some time.
Yeah.
What is the latest developments? Where are things at when it comes to LoRaWAN?
So we're actually in our 11th year, and we were there when the standard was launched. We were one of the first to adopt it, and we created a developer ecosystem. And one of the things that we see happening kind of across the board with now 4 million devices on the platform is that it's becoming really good at these use cases between like 50 and 100,000 units.
Okay.
And mostly operated with private networks. So for instance, you have 1,000 fast food restaurants, or you have like a nationwide logistical network. What you can easily do is install these LoRaWAN gateways on premise, and then form an entire network together. So for instance, you have internal logistics, but you have lots of sites across the country. Maybe you don't need to follow all the goods and the assets you have, but you want to know in which site they are. That's, for instance, where we see kind of a lot of different use cases emerge. And kind of, if you look at LoRaWAN as a technology, it's a fairly simple technology if you compare it, for instance, to cellular technologies, and that's a really big advantage. Because actually the NRE, so the non-recurring engineering cost, which is kind of here in the embedded world, that's what people look at, is not so high. Like if you want to build an industrialized product, let's say that you 300, 400K, you're done, and you can like have a product that can go to market.
Okay.
And that means that the barrier is a bit lower in getting into IoT for a lot of companies, and getting to a POC, that these costs are even way lower, right? Then we're talking about sometimes thousands of dollars and euros. But also the barrier to industrializing units, and I think that makes sure that we constantly see more customers with a lot of different ideas.
Yeah, I like this notion of private network. You can build your own network locally that you control, you know, from the device to the gateway, and no one else is coming into that network. There's a notion of public networks as well, where you can have operators sharing our networks. It's pretty cool. So a follow-up question, which is, here in Embedded World, I went around the booth and everyone is talking about Edge AI. LoRaWAN does not allow you to transfer a lot of data, right? Is there scenarios where still some people want to have AI on these tiny devices down there, like things that could be, for example, motion sensors that would be attached to a box that you're tracking? I know you don't want to push a full model update through LoRaWAN, and you cannot. But do you still see scenarios where people want to have AI down on these kind of lower devices?
Yeah. So just first to your first question is I see massive potential. So you have these MCU AI chip companies like Inotera, BrainChip, Aleph, Efficient Computer. Probably I'm forgetting a bunch, but they can do really low power inferencing at the edge. The potential is there. We're also, IoT operates in an enterprise world, and typically enterprises operate in a legacy context where innovation adoption is really hard. So sometimes we even have to tell customers that if this then that exists, right? So
they're not yet at the point of putting AI.
No, sometimes we have to tell customers if the last reading is the same as current reading, then just don't send it, right? So if sometimes, so there's a whole spectrum of enterprise size. So then to your point is that there's this audio, even the sound of breaking glass, this
noise cancellation,
noise, that kind of stuff. So basically, making sure that you filter out the false positives, that kind of stuff. To your point, can we doing software updates and pushing that to over LoRaWAN? That's a bit too much bandwidth to require. But there's also a lot of standard models where you probably are good enough with the ML you have on the edge. And maybe there's really no need for the next 4 years to update the ML model.
No.
Because it's very
these things are pretty simple at the end of the day, right? It's one set of sensors. They don't do a lot. But you can run some inference on these tiny devices that works very little battery, and that actually pairs up pretty nicely with LoRaWAN, where you can have something intelligent that notifies that something happened. And there is also, like, if you talk to the guys here at the show of Efficient Computer, then they have demos where they do even image recognition over a battery operated device, and then you can say you can narrow the model completely down if you only use these cameras to detect how many people go in and out. Right. Then and then at least you have some data, and otherwise you wouldn't have any data, right? So I'm excited. I also believe that has to go through a level of maturization, and probably there's a bit of hype around it right now. But the potential is pretty significant. What do you mean hype?
There's no hype.
There's no hype. Everything is green. So last one for you, Wienke. So you have a talk tonight at IoT Stars. Can you give me a little teaser so that people then can go and watch somewhere?
So the title is not suitable for publication.
Well, live, so maybe you can go. It's like adult only.
No. So it's the title is called "Don't Piss on Me and Tell Me It's Raining," and it's about the perseverance you need to build IoT companies, and also listening to customers. Also, if they're very unfriendly and saying things like this, and there's always a lesson in what a customer says, and this is really about the journey about the journey that we had over the last 10 years, where we focused much more on the user than on investors or in business models, and that got us where we are right now, the fast-growing SaaS company that's doing really well. So I think it's the story of the journey and about just hanging in there, focusing, and other cliches.
But it's a good lesson in general, especially in these times we are in today, where there's like so many changes so fast that you could be waiting for things to happen, or you could be ultra focused on your technology and your shiny object and not care about your customer. or you could be successful by caring about your customer, what they need, and delivering that.
And that's yeah, and then that's the trick. And then the market does what it does, right? Like sometimes, and I think IoT didn't really grow that super fast, but now
it's there.
It's there, and even 30% year on year is a quite significant growth.
It is. It's happening. Wienke, thank you very much for your time tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Everyone, stay tuned. We have next guest coming up soon on the IoT Show here at IoT Stars.